Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Anime Night in the Dojo. Today's featured show, My Dress Up Darling, Season 2.
My Dress Up Darling, Season 2, Episode 12. Welcome back to the dojo. I'm Ryu. That's Age. We're back for more Anime Night in the dojo. And, well, we talked about this last week, but just like the end of Season 1, this episode title has My Dress Up Darling in it. So that means the last episode of the series will probably have it as well for the Rule of Threes. So that's kind of cool. But really quick before we get started here, I know somebody's been making comments on the Dress Up Darling stuff, and I've seen it. I can't respond because I'm still having issues with YouTube comment section, even with this channel. I see that it's there, and when I go to click to respond to you to see what you said, I see like the first sentence like in my dashboard, and it's like, oh yeah, it's cool, somebody said something on whatever. I can't do anything with it right now. I don't know what's going on. It's YouTube. I apologize. I see it. We appreciate you. I know you. I saw a couple of your comments before, and I know it's the same person. And appreciate the insight and stuff what you were telling us, but I can't see the last one from last week or the week before or whatever it was. So I apologize. I'm not ignoring you. I just can't say anything, and I can't see everything that you said. So yeah, I apologize. So anybody that's making comments, same thing. Can't. I had a problem before, and maybe now I don't know. I have nothing for it. So either way, just wanted to get that out of the way. But interesting facts here. Reread everything just to be sure. I thought there was a little bit of a little extra thing like they did with Juju doing the Black Lobelia like impromptu cosplay thing. I thought there was one extra thing before they did the coffin cosplay. There is not. So I'm very interested to see how they handle this situation because the coffin stuff takes a little bit. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff happens. There's some Akira character development in there. So are they going to really pack it in? Or were they going to cut it off? Are they going to do something a little anime original maybe for this? Maybe move like how Maureen wants to like confess that thing after the cosplay, that kind of thing. Are they going to like do like a flash forward kind of deal? Like slightly after the coffin cosplay that we'll do in its entirety at the beginning of season 3. You know what I mean? So it's kind of an interesting spot because right after the coffin cosplay and all that stuff is when they start the next like super major arc, which leads to towards the end of the series, right? So yeah, piling all of the coffin stuff and then like where I would see the hard stop, which would be very cool, where like it's not really a huge spoiler, but where Gojo announces like we're doing this thing, like we're doing this next cosplay, basically. You know what I mean? And that's like, that'd be a very cool place to end this season. Like, we're doing this, and then they show the cosplay they're going to do. You know what I mean? For the next major arc. But I don't know if they have enough time in this episode. You know what I mean? So it will be interesting to see how it's handled for this. So that's the big curiosity for me here. It's how they're going to do this episode, or they're potentially going to leave it. And is something going to get excluded? Because it'd be kind of a bummer because, like I said, a lot of this coffin stuff is very cool, just a cosplay bit and what they do for the event. And then obviously the character development between the characters and then the Akira thing. So it's a lot to pack into one episode. You know what I mean? So maybe they can pull it off. I don't know. So that's going to be the big curiosity for me here. And we'll talk about it more after we watch it just to see where we're at. Obviously, and then do the typical season wrap up because this is the last episode of the season, and then we'll tell you guys more about what we'll be doing in the next set of shows. But either way, we're going to push some buttons and get going here. So people on Patreon, we'll get the timer stuff going here for you in a second on that edit, and if you're on YouTube, on the other side of the edit, you, as always, will see the discussion and review. And, if you're looking for the live reaction, it'll be down there, or just find me on Patreon. /RuZ28. The link is over here in YouTube somewhere. Hopefully it functions, unlike my comment section. So, anyway. So we're going to push some buttons and get going here. So, here goes something. Well, alrighty then. There you guys have it. We have wrapped up this season of My Dress Up Darling. As I mentioned at the end of the reaction again, I can't imagine we're not going to get a season 3. Only one more season. So hopefully, more than likely, they'll wrap it up, unlike some of the other series that are like this, that they've only done a couple seasons and just kind of left it up to go read the manga kind of situation potentially. But stuff like Nagatoro, Uzaki-chan, those are probably still in limbo for various reasons. So maybe we'll get more seasons of those as time goes on, but we'll just have to see. But you guys see this right here? This is critically important. because Marion has joined the crew of characters who have moved in plank time. So we can make a note for Death Battle and just put her on that list. I'm not gonna let it go, you guys. I'm just not. So anytime I can make that that reference, I'm gonna do it. So go watch the Vegeta versus Thor Death Battle to understand full context. But anyway, again, the pacing for this episode is great. They got through everything they needed to for the Coffin cosplay. They even added a little bit more to it for the anime stuff. Did everything that they needed to. It was all there. Shot for shot, Sajuna's Juju's super aversion to horror stuff. They spotlighted that and did a good job with making that a bigger focal point of the episode when she just up and dies on them. Not literally, but
yeah, she's gonna need some help.
Yeah, she's gonna need some help. So they did a good job with that, and then they were able to get the Akira explaining herself situation in. You know what I mean? I didn't think they'd be able to pull it off, but the pacing was there. There was nothing removed except for one little thing, and I'll mention it here again just in case you guys didn't watch the discussion. When they're having this discussion here, at some point during all this, I forget exactly where it happens, but it's during this flashback. Gojo and Amane mention, well, Marine's like an actual model, right? And she's in magazines, and like Gojo shows her, and then she immediately, it just pans to her going to her phone, and they're like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm just buying out every magazine from every local shop because I need to have all of it. But I'm not going to buy all of them because then I'd be denying people Marian's greatness, something like that. That's the only thing they admitted, which again would have been hilarious, but still.
Well, in the slide of greets her every day, she has a stack of Mari's magazines there behind the princess figure.
Yeah, they kind of implied that she already did it. They did pay homage to it. Like it was like, yeah, here it is, right here. So right here. So this is they kind of changed this, but it doesn't matter. It's still there. You know what I mean? Okay, so it was a slight change. I did see this. So this was them paying homage to her, like, oh man, I have to buy all of them now, kind of thing, which is fine. You know what I mean? It's not really that big of a change. It doesn't really matter. She's obsessed with her, so maybe the author said, maybe it should just be she already knew that and has a pile of it. You know what I mean? That could have been like a minor change. Like, hey, I kind of want to change this thing slightly. Like how Kubo's been changing some stuff in Bleach. That kind of thing. That might have been what this was. I don't care either way. It doesn't matter. It was still hilarious, no matter how you look at it. Whether it's the original one or this right here with her just saying like, no, I wake up to her face every day. But yeah, for anybody not aware, when in the last episode where they fade out that shot of what is supposed to be like the Black Lobelia gotcha game thing that she got, no, that's Marion and Black Lobelia cosplay. So yeah, she's a super fan. So they got to that. That was great. These sequences right here, not only does it save on animation budget, but it just makes it funnier. You know what I mean? Just simple backdrop. Gojo and Amane are just standing there staring at her, and she barely moves, and that's how you do it. Other thing I will give credit for was, did you guys hear Amane go full man mode in this episode for one word? 2 words. That was great. Just full on pitch change. Obviously, you can't know that happened in the freaking source material. It's not just going to say his voice pitch changes. I mean, sometimes there's a note in manga that says his tone of voice change or something like that. But
yeah,
here I was just like, wow, they actually did that. That's hilarious. So they did everything they needed to. Once again, shot for shot stuff. Everything was there. The additions for the coffin stuff, that was all there. I gotta mute this just in case I keep missing the damn thing because Crunchyroll is terrible. But yeah, they did everything they needed to, and they did elongate this scene a little bit more here at the end where it takes Mari home, but that's fine. They're the 2 main characters. The whole premise of this is their relationship, so good. You know what I mean?
Shortest train ever.
Yeah, though it was shortest train ever. So I don't know, has anybody ever been confessed to on a public transportation trip? I mean, probably, but you know, everybody always talks about they want to have their moment and do it at, you know, like a fireworks show, you know, in front of the fountains of Bellagio Casino, you know, that kind of stuff, something grandiose, you know what I mean? And it's just like, or you could stop waiting around and wasting both of your potential times that you could be together and ask. That's always going to be my advice. Is like, do you like him? Yeah. You realize if you ask her out or him out sooner that you could be spending more time with them, or know that they are not interested in you and then just move on sooner instead of just waiting in this maybe what if bullshit limbo. Either way, you're going to be better off than just worrying about it. But it's a teenage thing. We were all there. It's fine. But that will always be my advice to younger people is just go for it. The worst thing they can do is say no. You know what I mean? It's really not that big of a deal. When you're a teenager, it feels like it is, but trust a person that's older. It's really not. Just get it over with. Pull the band-aid off. Just see what happens. That way, either way, you can either move on or spend more time with them. Simple. So, either way, everything they did with this was great. I still love how the younger character's the most mom, even though we did get the Inui mother in this episode, which I can't exactly remember if they showed her off in the source material or if it was just like an off-screen like text box talking to Juju like, hey, I put vegetables in your soup and that kind of thing, because that does happen. But I can't remember if the author actually drew the mother. I just read it. I just don't remember if she was in there, but that's important. The whole thing here is that she's been the motherly character across the board, and she's the youngest one there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would have been slightly funnier if she was consoling one of the full adults. Not that Akira isn't an adult, but you know, she's a younger adult in college, unlike the woman who's playing Charlotte. She's like in her like late 20s, early 30s. But so it's always great when it's just like, oh, she's a nice mom character. It's like, nope, she's a middle schooler.
Yeah.
So yeah, you might want to put that one down. So either way, again, solid episode. The pacing was fantastic. They got in everything. Bravo. You know, I thought they didn't have time, but what the do I know? Apparently, you know what I mean. I'm probably still reeling from the beginning of the year with you know, Guild Receptionist having terrible pacing. So that has thrown off my entire equilibrium. So thank you, people in charge of My Dress Up Darling, for fixing my pacing equilibrium. Showing me again that there is good pacing out there and you can get shit done. You're not just screaming as a Super Saiyan power up for 23 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can actually get the shit done in episode 3 that's supposed to be done in episode 3, not episode 10.
Yeah. So that's good. That's good. Yeah. I'm glad it saved me from being too jaded. But, you know, as you guys could see, they did pack in a lot of stuff, which is fine. But they did get everything in there. You know what I mean? It just felt, and I mentioned this when I went back and read Guild Receptionist, saying that, you know, it was okay to read. There was nothing really wrong with it. It just didn't come off the paper. You know what I mean? In this case, in the source material, this bit here, like that they covered here in this, just felt longer as you were reading it. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's not a bad thing. It just, that's how it felt for it. I was like, oh yeah, this is going on for a little bit, huh? That's cool. I just didn't think they could get it all into this episode, but they did. So, yay. My only, and this is not a complaint. This is just like a personal thing. And I mentioned it at the beginning of all of this, was I think it would have been cool if they had shown off like the next thing, like ended it on like Gojo saying, hey, this is what we're doing. Okay, let's do this. Because they'll have like a discussion after the Coffin cosplay, which they're probably putting off till next season, obviously, because that's going to set up the next major arc. So I thought they might do that at the end of this, like, oh, hey, the next major arc stuff is coming up. I'm not going to say what it is, but this is what we should do, you know, or are we going to do this at this next major event kind of deal? And then, you know, they look at this thing and then Gojo says, no, we're doing this. And I thought that would have been kind of a cool way to end it as well. But this was very good too. Obviously, the selfie is a good place to end it. This is what should have happened at TwitchCon yesterday for Emiru. I'm just saying, is it so hard to just do your job. That's a whole other discussion, but I'm just saying, somebody protect people, okay? But this this right here, good way to end it. You know what I mean? Solid ending, good place. So that other thing that I mentioned is just like a personal thing of like what I would have done, but it doesn't, that's not an objective thing. That's just a subjective, like, I think it would have been cool to just kind of be like, yeah, this is what we're doing, and then they pan to like show the cosplay off that they're gonna do, and then right there, what I mean? Kind of like when I talked about with like the Juju thing, like I thought it would have been funnier if they had like ended on Juju saying no to Marion, and that ends the episode kind of deal. But
yeah.
Either way, they're starting next season, hopefully, obviously, with the next major arc. Just talking about that could be a major big moment for just that first episode. Like Gojo going super serious mode. It's like, no, we're doing this because of the same reason why Akira does what she does for her friends. Gojo is doing this for Marion. You know what I mean? And it's like another thing for him. It's like, no, I'm doing this for you because it's a big deal. So either way, we talked about this season pretty much in every episode. You guys know how we feel about it. It's a great series. No real complaints. It was shot for shot. The stuff that wasn't in the source material was just the little additions of like the in-universe source material. Like at the beginning with like the heist characters, with the bunny girl suit, stuff like that. The magical girl stuff, and then the additions they made with like the coffin game, that kind of thing. All those things that they brought more to life and brought more into the forefront of what's going on in anime. That was good. And again, everything that they needed to do has been done. So what else can I say? You can have your complaints, but from an objective standpoint, this was pretty much a flawless run of what you needed to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't complain about this unless you disagree with something in the source material. And I don't have any disagreements. The writing's fine. The character development's fine. There's not an overuse of extra characters. You know what I mean? It's a nice tight-knit cast that doesn't go too overboard. They all do something. They're not forgotten, like, Sugar Man in MHA or freaking Ojiro. Those characters could be removed from MHA and it wouldn't matter. But that's something I'm going to be talking about in this season of MHA, because I've been thinking about that. And that's going to be an end of series discussion for MHA, is those two characters especially. I already have it in my head. I've had it rehearsed. But yeah, you either enjoyed this adaptation or you didn't. But from an objective assessment standpoint, this was pretty much flawless. You know what I mean? The only things that I could really say are subjective. Like the things that I said that I would have done differently or that I thought would be cool. That doesn't make it worse. Okay, I'm not pulling a Hades 2 review over here saying this was flawless, but because they didn't do what I would have done, I'm going to negative review this. Ants on a head assessment. Just saying. If you're going to give something like a 98 out of 100, you can't give it a negative review. That's really, really fucking stupid. Okay? Pardon my French. So, again, flawless run. Bravo. Way to do it. You know what I mean? Exactly what you need to do. Exactly what you want to see. Staying true to the source material. And this has, inspired me to try to have one show every season. And it might not happen in this next season, in this next series of shows that we're going to be doing, because I just don't have the time to, like, maybe I could catch up on like campfire cooking in the next week, maybe. But it's probably not going to happen. So for the beginning of next year, I might try to do MF Ghost or something like that, because that's one of my more favorite shows personally recently that I've done, because I enjoyed Initial D, and MF Ghost has been the next step up from that, and it's been great. And I see what's been going on with that, because based on how they're running it, MF Ghost should also finish up in anime form. So yeah, it might not be this next set of shows with MHA. I could read the end of it, but there's not really a point in that. Spy Family, that's an endeavor. You know what I mean? The only realistic one would really be campfire cooking, and we'll see. You know what I mean? But from what I've seen of that show, I can't imagine they're deviating that much, because that show is like on this level of good for me. You know what I mean? So I do still enjoy My Dress Up Darling a little bit more than that show. but that's just because I'm a sucker for romance and comedy at the same time, and there's not really any romance in Campfire Cooking yet, or there might not ever be. So it's just one of those things. But again, great season. Exactly what you want to see. I can't say it enough. They elevated it off the pages, did everything that they needed to do, didn't deviate, didn't get on a freaking soapbox, just did what they needed to do. You know what I mean? And there are even shot for shot things just were the panel. Like when they took that picture of Gojo, that was just the panel colored in. That was it. That was the panel. They didn't even like we talked about the Kaiju number 8 drama. You know what I mean? All they had to do for that frame and say that show was just rip the panel off of the source material and color it in. You know what I mean? If you're gonna do a still shot of a character making a serious face, it's already done for you. Just color it in. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Color it in, add a little bit of animation, the sound. You know what I mean? It's madness. And then you see stuff like this, and it's just like exactly what you want to see. You're not paying homage to the author. You're adapting their material. It's not your job to change it. You know what I mean? If they tell you to change it or whatever, then yeah. But at the end of the day, all you have to do is copy it. That's it. You know what I mean? Obviously, there are certain things that you can't pull off of a panel that you have to do for an anime, but they did everything here. And we talked about it a little bit this season, is the backdrops being pseudo hyper realistic. That's not how it is in the source material, obviously, but I like it as an aesthetic choice. Now, people might not like it, and that's totally fine. I like it, and I think it's fine, objectively. You know what I mean? There's nothing really wrong with it. And I see that a lot more these days, and I think it's kind of an interesting way to go about it. You know?
Yeah.
So there's nothing really wrong with it. You cannot like it, absolutely. I'm not telling you have to like it, but there's nothing really objectively wrong with it. It's just kind of there. It kind of sets like a different tone, kind of like puts you more in the universe to understand it. The stats for nerds thing won't go away no matter what I click, so it's just kind of there on Gojo's face, but that's okay. There's nothing even there when you click on it, you know what I mean? So I don't know what stats for nerds Crunchyroll has, but it's probably like my comment section. It doesn't function. But again, yeah, so great season. I really enjoyed this. I hope they will do a season 3. I can't imagine they won't. And when it comes, we'll do it. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much all I got for this episode this season. And I'm glad we had this, because I needed this before we do friggin' Shield Hero. I freaking needed it, you guys. I freaking needed it. And while we're not recording Shield Hero today, at least I'll have Peacemaker to hopefully make me feel better. But they're in full Nazi mode now, so maybe it's just going to be a little awkward and gross. So we'll just have to see. But maybe Shield Hero will end on a positive, cool, fun note. And that's all I can hope for. So, you got anything else for this one, Age?
Not really. I generally don't have a lot to say about this show. It's a good show, but I'm usually more of the like theories and info nerd, so there isn't much for me to really say.
Right. Other than when we can draw from personal experience and stuff like that. So yeah. Anyway. So again, ladies and gentlemen, people of YouTube, beyond whoever you're watching, as always, we appreciate you stopping by and hanging out here in the dojo for more. This was My Dress Up Darling, Season 2, Episode 12. This wraps up the season. Again, whenever we get Season 3, which I can't imagine we won't, we'll do it. But going forward here, we'll have a new set of shows minus Gachi Akuda next week, because Gachi Akuda is 2 core and it's going to continue, so that will still be on Thursday. Friday will probably be the Crunchyroll player fixing my problem for once. Look at that. It cleared the stats for nerd. Do you guys see that? Friday will probably be replaced by this will probably be replaced by Campfire Cooking, because it's adjacent to, like, you know, Friday's usually like our slice of life show. So yeah, Campfire Cooking is definitely slightly more slice of life than Spy Family. So we got MHA, the last season, the next season of Spy Family, Campfire Cooking, which I watched season 1. I enjoyed it. Watched it on a whim, catching age up on it before we do that. So we're going to do season 2. And then we got all the Vivzy stuff coming down the pipe. So we got plenty of stuff to do. So there's going to be no rest for us at this point. We also have to finish Peacemaker, which we might just knock out this week just to get it out of the way. We're enjoying Peacemaker, but just to save us some time next weekend, because we have an extra time slot this week. Might just finish that and just be good. So yeah, we got at least MHA, Gachi Spy Family, Campfire Cooking. That covers our usual 4 slots. And there's also going to be Has Been Hotel season 2. So that's going to be bare minimum 5th, and there might be a 6th because they are also starting Isekai Quartet. But that's going to be kind of like a different animal. We might just watch all of it and then talk about the season on a whole during this season of shows.
I could have swore there was another show.
I thought there was 2, but we're gonna have to find it.
One Punch Man.
One Punch Man, yes. We gotta punch some people. I knew that there. I was like, I could have sworn there was 6, and I was just losing my mind. It's like, why can't I think about what it is? We gotta punch some people. So there's already controversy with that because apparently the new director used to do Arrow stuff, and people are mad about that. And I don't know. We'll have to see if that's justified, but.
Apparently, the second episode is a significant improvement, but the big thing that most people were griping about on the first episode was that the first episode, I believe that people actually went and counted it and timed it, and something 16 minutes out of the whole episode is just no frames, just sitting there motionless, talking to each other.
I see.
There's basically no animation in the entire first episode.
I hate to break it to people, but there's a lot of that in One Punch Man. There's a lot of just standing around talking to each other and no motion. Do you guys remember all of Genos and Saitama's conversations? They're just all in the room, and it just pans to Genos, Saitama, and they're just in the room talking. So I don't know.
Well, season 1 had ridiculous animation. That was 80% Sakuga, but yeah, season 2 was a downturn, and then now season 3, most people figure is going to be a major problem.
Right. Well, we'll just have to see. But yes, One Punch Man is also there because we haven't done it for the channel yet. It's One Punch Man, and we got to do it. So anyway, there you guys have it. There's the lineup. I'm pretty sure there's nothing else other than those at the moment, but there is other stuff that we're keeping an eye on that we might talk about randomly. So. Anyway, as always, ladies and gentlemen, people of YouTube, beyond however you're watching, we appreciate you. Have a good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. And we'll see you in the next one.
Hey everyone, Victoria here. If you enjoyed the video, please consider pushing those like and subscribe buttons. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thanks again for your time, and we hope to see you again in the future.